For those who are comfortable, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I'm going to say a list of names. And I want you to imagine the person that's associated with that name. John, Sarah, Nate, Katie, Jasmine, LeBron, Darnell, Latoya, Lakeisha, Deshawn. You may now open your eyes. Now I want to ask y'all to share, but if we're being honest, we all have different things that we associate with names, and that makes sense because names convey important information about a person's race, ethnicity, nationality, and their family history. However, having your name been identified with a particular group can be challenging due to individual, cultural, and societal biases. Specifically, Black Americans who have Black American names face a unique type of discrimination within America. My name is Destin Mizelle, and today I'll talk with you about the cultural phenomenon and significance of Black American names. Welcome to my TED Talk. I've always wanted to say that. So, like many people, the first name I learned to spell was Destin, D-E-S-T-I-N. The next name I learned to spell was my mom's name, Farlesia, P-H-A-R-L-E-S-I-A. 9 letters, 4 syllables, Farlesia. Now, I remember in grade school, I've always had terrible handwriting. So when I would miss an assignment, or I would do bad in class, or whatever the case may be, I would get my friends to forge my mom's signature on assignments when I would do bad. And all my friends would always get feedback about my mom's name, saying her name was long, or it was difficult to pronounce. It was ghetto. Now at the time, I didn't really care what they had to say about the name. Listen, as long as they signed the slip or whatever I needed to get me out of trouble, I was okay with that. But I did begin to wonder, what makes a name ghetto, right? What makes Black names ghetto? And how can a name even be ghetto? I'm no stranger to hearing that Black names are ghetto. I went to a predominantly Black high school, and I remember certain students being told not to use their first names on resumes or job applications because their name was ghetto, or they wouldn't be able to receive an opportunity because their name would be perceived as ghetto. Instead, they were recommended to use their middle names if they had white-sounding middle names. And unfortunately, if they didn't have white-sounding middle names, then it might just be out of luck. So instead, they were recommended to use initials or recommended to use acronyms or whatever the case they could use to get this job application. And this is consistent. This advice is pretty consistent with a lot of research studies. There's a couple research studies that shows that if you have a resume with a Black name and a white name, the resume with the white name will be way more likely to receive a job opportunity. So if you're anything like me then, you're still wondering, okay, so what is a ghetto name? What makes the name ghetto? Matter of fact, what the hell is ghetto? Because I still don't know. But to answer that question, I did what every other college student in 2024 would do. I asked ChatGPT. Now, according to ChatGPT, referring to someone or something as ghetto can be offensive, derogatory, and it can have its origins in describing areas or neighborhoods with lower socioeconomic status, often associated with race, poverty, crime, and social challenges. However, when applied to an individual, it can perpetuate stereotypes and imply negative judgments about their character, their upbringing, and their lifestyle. So oftentimes, using the word ghetto to describe Black names or Black American names is a way to discriminate and judge against Black Americans who have those names. And it's a reflection of America's troubled history with colonization, racism, and chattel slavery. Oftentimes, when people say that Black is ghetto, it often means that Black names are not white or not white enough. Now, I don't know what's the obsession with having Black names be white names, but I'm gonna give you an example of this popping up on me. So I'm on TikTok, minding my own Black business, scrolling, and I come across a video of a person who works in the hiring department of a company, and they share that whenever they see black names, or what they described as ghetto names, they instantly skip over that application. Now, that pissed me off, but it's also discriminatory, and I want to say it's even illegal. But what it did was, it brought up the doctoral candidate in me, and it made me want to go do the research on black names. And what I found was, it was troubling. So the research revealed that black people experience discrimination regarding their names in multiple areas in life that are needed for living: spirituality, mental well-being, education, criminal justice. For example, there's a 2016 study that finds that at the entry point of receiving mental health services, black Americans who have black American names are less likely to receive emails that prompt services. For example, the name Allison, or the white name Allison, is significantly more likely to be invited for services than the name Lakeisha. A 2023 study found that black men who have black American names, like Jamal, receive more punitive punishment sentences for the same crimes as a man with the name John, who had the same crime and done the same things. And this is consistent amongst archival and experimental data. Now, there's more. So wait, there's more. But, and this one is one of the most significant ones. There's even ones that find that dogs who are perceived to have black American names are tied to slower adoption times, and dogs who have white names are tied to faster adoption times. Now, this is troubling because we all know how much people care about dogs. I could write a dissertation about how much people care about dogs. And speaking of dissertations, I'm currently working on mine, and I'm looking into the experiences of black Americans who have black names. And I'm looking into the cultural significance of black American names. Now, I bet y'all can imagine all my family and friends' reaction when I tell them I've been in school for 4 years to talk about names and be an expert on names. And I get their reaction, I get the facial expression, I get it all. But that's because we don't understand the power and intention behind namings. So let's start here. Names are the first gift a person receives. Oftentimes, it can reflect the parents' hopes that they have for the child, or reflect the values that are within the community. And across cultures, names have importance. For example, my good friend Chisom, she is from the Igbo Nigerian tribe. Chisom's name means God is with me. When I asked Chisom about the importance of her name, she said that it's a reminder that God is with her, even when times are rough. In Ghanaian culture, they named their children based off the day of the week they were born and their gender assigned at birth. So example, when I visited Ghana, I was gifted with the name Kwabena. Kwabena means born on Tuesday, because I was born on Tuesday and I'm a male. I have a friend named Magal. Magal is from the Oromo tribe located in southwest Ethiopia. Magal's name directly translates to he who rides a brown horse and has preferred skin. Now, the color of the horse in this culture matters because the brown horse signifies great stature and great leadership. Magal is named after his 8th grandfather, and his grandfather had a brown horse because he had great stature and leadership. Now, these names are beautiful, and these cultural names have a lot of meaning. And I want to let it be known that these names face their own unique type of discrimination within America. However, they're at least seen as cultural, whereas black names are seen as sometimes meaningless or careless decisions, or what I named already, ghetto. So what I'll do is I'll list off about 7 popular black naming practices. And we'll outline just a few things that black people consider when naming our children. Number 1, which is one of my favorite ones, black parents sometimes combine the names of the parents to create one unique name for the child. For instance, Jonathan gets with Nikki, bam, we got Jonique. Now, this is important because it can signify parents bestowing their best qualities onto their child. Number 2, black names or black people, we often use renditions of names that are important of people that are important to our community or to our family. This can be a community leader, or this can be a family member, a friend, or a historical figure. For example, my mentor, she named her first son Langston, and she named her second son Houston. Houston spelled Hugheston. These names together are an ode to the poet Langston Hughes, who is a Black American giant, has done tremendous things for our community and for Black American art. Number 3, Black people often name our children Western names with a slightly different spelling. So I have a friend named Savannah. Savannah spells her name with a J. When I asked Savannah about the importance of her name, she says that she is the first and last Savannah that most people will meet that spells their name with a J. She shares that her name is unique and she never met anyone that spells her name in that way, and she likes it that way. And it often starts a lot of conversations surrounding her name. Number 4, Black names have been a battleground for social, cultural, and political consciousness. So often Black name reflects the soul and spirit of our ancestors and our fight against oppression. So you have names like Assata. Assata means she who struggles or she who fights for what she believes in. Number 5, Black names often tell stories. For example, a family who struggled at birth might name their child a miracle because their child is a miracle. Or they might name their child my angel because their child is their angel. Black names also can be prophetic. So thinking about the metaphysical and spiritual aspect that goes into naming. Let's consider Beyonce. Beyonce's name directly translates to beyond others. Now, I don't think it's by mistake or by coincidence that Beyonce is one of the greatest singers and performers in the world. That's the prophecy behind the name may be in play. My name is Destin. I've been told my whole life that I'm destined for greatness. It's prophecy as well. Number 6, Black names are often reflect the values that are core and essential to Black culture. For example, Justice, a name that's popular within the Black community. Names like Serenity, Joy sometimes spelled with an I, Love, are all names that are popular in our community, but also reflective of the values that we hold near and dear to us. Number 7, Black names have origins in a bunch of different cultures. And that can be reflective of Black Americans' journey throughout America and throughout the world. So example, the name Aaliyah has Arabic origins. The name Leroy has French origins. The name Amani has Swahili origins. The name Tyrone has Irish origins. I wonder if Erykah Badu knew that when she was making her song. So I listed off about 7 different Black naming practices, but there's a bunch more. Like, I didn't even get into the importance of apostrophes when it comes to Black namings. But I want to make it clear that Black people don't have to follow guidelines when naming their children. Sometimes Black people might just pick a name for their children because they felt the name was cute or they liked the way the name sounded. And that doesn't take away the importance that name has to the family or the person who yields that name, nor does it diminish the level of respect that name deserves. Now, I know it's difficult having a Black name at times due to some of the research I listed off and some of the ways that Black people have been discriminated against. However, I would argue that the answer to solving Black name stigma is not to stop naming children Black names, but instead to challenge the world that makes us view Black names as something that's negative, or what I mentioned already, as ghetto. Before we can truly understand and appreciate Black names, we must decenter the white gaze and center our understanding of Black culture and Black joy. See, we know that Black people have a rhythm and flow with how we engage with the world and the people of the world. So of course, Black names will embody that. We know that Black culture is creative, rich in history. So we know that Black names will reflect that. We know that Black people value the soul and spirit of our ancestors, the joy in our communities, and the liberation within our belief systems. So of course, Black names will echo that. We know that Black people are not white people. So of course, Black names will not be white names. Now, it's important that y'all don't leave this TED Talk and think, okay, well, cool, I get it. Black names are different, cool. That's not the takeaway point. Black names are not different. Black names are. To think that a Black name is different means that there is a normal and there is no normal. So the next time you see a student, a mother, a job applicant, a friend, I want you to intentionally shift your mind when they have a black name about what their name means and what their name means to their culture and their family. The next time you see a black person with a black name and you believe their name is too difficult to pronounce, I want you to remind yourself that you never had any difficulty pronouncing Schwarzenegger or Leonardo or Michelangelo. So you definitely can pronounce LaToya, Trayvon, and Quavon. The next time you hear a joke about a black name, like Shanae or Watermelondrea, I want you to remind yourself that you may be upholding problematic stereotypes about a culture or a person who has that name. The next time that you begin to believe that a black name is fictitious, and is made up, and they just threw some stuff together, I want you to remind yourself that, well, all things were created. Food, language, fashion, culture, names, even you once had a start. The next time that you believe that a black person, that a Farlesia doesn't deserve an opportunity because of their names, I want you to ask yourself, who told you that? Who told you that this person doesn't deserve an opportunity because of the way you see their names? It's important that we begin to reframe our minds to understand that black names matter. Black names are the pedigree of our identity. They're the commencement of our history and the manifestation of our creativity. My name is Destin Lamonte Mizelle. Thank you all.